What's up, everyone? It's the Benchwarmers with a special guest, Rishabh here. Rishabh here is a Cowboys fan, and the Cowboys are on the clock right now. It's a loaded field in a draft which has been unlike any other due to the sheer amount of trades involving players and stars such as A.J. Brown and Marquise Brown, along with other picks which have been going around flying. And the Cowboys have stuck here at number 24 and have a loaded defensive field in front of them. Rishabh, who would you want the Cowboys to take?
I would say our offensive line, we didn't have a great time last year because Biotish wasn't that great at center. So I would say Linderbaum would be a great pick for us. But on defensive end, it's always great to get more people there. We had trouble with our linebacker core and our safety core. So I'd be looking at a N'Kobe Dean or maybe a Daxton Hill type player. And of course, Jermaine Johnson is the best player left on the board. So you can't go wrong there.
All interesting picks. Looks like Goodell is on the mic. And the Cowboys select Tulsa offensive tackle Tyler Smith. He has been a recent riser in a lot of mock drafts, and a lot of people have him going at the end of the first round. So offensive tackle here. This is what you want, Rishabh. What do you think of this pick?
I'm on the edge with this pick. I just think if we're going to go offensive line, I would go center with Linderbaum because Biotish was the weakest link last year. And I think the center has really affected our communication as a whole, as a line. But I also think we struggle a lot with penalties. And Tyler Smith's biggest thing was that he got a lot of penalties. So I'm not sure how that will go. But it's good to have another good offensive tackle because Terrence Steele was not great opposite Tyron Smith. So it's okay pick from me.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a decent pick. I mean, it fills a positional need. Obviously, Terrence Steele, wasn't the greatest last year, and Tyler Smith has been rising a bit into kind of that back end of the first round. But I just think, kind of when you look at the players available, you have Jermaine Johnson, who is projected to be a top 10 pick. You have like Devin Lloyd and N'Kobe Dean. I just think there were some better options available. Even like Tyler Linderbaum, as you mentioned, I think was kind of a consensus top 5 offensive lineman throughout this whole draft process. So I'm not really sure why you would take Tyler Smith over Linderbaum, but I mean, it's not a terrible pick by any means.
Yeah, I come to the very similar conclusion as the other two. I think it's a solid pick. It's not too great. It's not too bad. I personally would have chosen a defensive player. I would personally choose Jermaine Johnson or Devin Lloyd, and I would probably up on the offensive side take Tyler Linderbaum. But I think in a draft where a lot of the teams around them became a lot better, such as the Giants, who had 2 amazing first-round picks in Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal, and the Eagles, who traded and got A.J. Brown and signed him to an extension. I think having a lot more of an impactful player to impact these offenses by adding a player on the defensive end would ensure that the Cowboys win those 6 easy divisional games. And taking an offensive tackle, while being important, building in the trenches, is something which won't guarantee that for the immediate future. So how would you grade this pick, Rishabh?
I would grade it as C+, honestly. I think there's a lot more choices, as you guys have said, that could have been taken here. If you were to keep this 24th pick, I think I would have much rather you gone with a Jermaine Johnson, a N'Kobe Dean, or even a Daxton Hill. But I just feel like we could have taken Tyler Smith and traded down and possibly gotten some assets in return if we were really set on Tyler Smith as our player. And even then, I'm not sure it's the best offensive player or even just player in general we could have taken, because I feel like we could have traded to like the end of the first round, maybe even the top of the second round, and had most of these players still here and also gotten more assets in exchange. Maybe a player who could serve a similar role on the team, or even some picks in the future.
Yeah, I'm actually a little more pessimistic. I would say this is probably like a C- for me. I think in terms of just the player alone, I would say you could say B- or C+. But just considering how many other options are available, I think that the Cowboys really could have done a lot better here, either by taking one of the better players or by trading down, as Rishabh mentioned, because I think Tyler Smith is still realistically going to be there kind of at the top of the second round if the Cowboys are really want him that badly. And yeah, I think in general, just the Cowboys needed to focus on either defense, or if they were going to go offensive line, it would have to be Linderbaum, in my opinion. So C- overall for me.
Yeah, I'm on the same line with Andrew. Rishabh, you brought up a point that Tyler Smith does have a lot of penalties, and that kind of is the issue on the Cowboys in the first place. Like their offensive line is very talented. Like they a couple of years ago would probably be a top 5 offensive line in the entire league. But I think that their issue is penalties, and I think that adding a guy who has a tendency for penalties is not exactly the best thing in this circumstance. But I do still see the upside of Tyler Smith, and I do agree that it's an aging line, and they can use that to protect against edge rushers like Kayvon Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari on the Giants, or other players who are just being really good, like Jordan Davison up the middle, who's there now. I think there's just so many things who can, so many people who could have been taken. I think that Tyler Smith is just a meh option for the Cowboys.
Yeah, that wraps it up for this video, taking a look at the Cowboys draft pick, Tyler Smith. Thank you, Rishabh, so much for being here today. So let us know what you guys think of this pick in the comments below. This is the Benchwarmers, and we're signing out. See ya.